You're listening to Rendezvous with the Writer with Bobbi Jean and Jim Bell, only on LA Talk Radio.
Welcome to Rendezvous with the Writer, where readers and writers meet, and story is everything. We're your hosts tonight, Jim and Bobbi Bell. You've just been listening to Hot Texas with a Hot Texas Rhythm Band.
And they swing it out of Texas. We're delighted to have you with us. This is episode 175 because we know you are going to want to watch or listen to it again. And Jim, we have a full house tonight.
We have a full house.
We do. Who's joining us?
Well, first we're going to have Nick with Nick Whale. He's the CEO of Dusty Saddles Publishing Company, and he's in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, I don't know. Is Nick with us yet? Maybe not. We'll move ahead. Nick may be joining us in a couple minutes.
I think he probably will. Next, we have want to talk to Robert Valderman.
Yeah.
And we also call him Jackson Lowry.
I don't have any sound, but I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico tonight.
And you don't have any sound? Can you hear us, Robert? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? No. Okay. Okay. We had this problem one other time. Let's see. Can I get you on the phone? No. Okay. Well, let's see. Hopefully, Bob will just click the link and come on back in. Let's try for Charles Ray. Are you with us, Charles?
I'm right here.
And you're right here. All right. Well, we hope that Bob will go back and re-click the StreamYard link. Charles, if this happens to you too with sound, please go out of the studio and come back in.
Will do.
Well, we're delighted to have you with us, and we have a full house of Dusty Saddle publishing folks, and we're hoping that Nick and Bob will be able to come back on. But in the meantime, we have Charles.
We do.
Yeah, Charles, where are you joining us from?
I'm in Frederick, Maryland, just north of Washington, D.C.
Okay, great. Do you want to go ahead and introduce Charles?
We're going to.
Yeah.
Let's see if we got a bio here for him. I think we do. Charles Ray. Charles Ray is a man reborn after 20 years in the U.S. Army and 30 years as a diplomat. He has reinvented himself as an author. Although writing since his teens, he really began in earnest in 2008 as his career was winding down. Ray writes in a variety of genres, both fiction and nonfiction, and is best known for his tales of the Western frontier. He writes stories that are historically accurate and reflect the diversity of the Wild West. He never lets his history interfere with telling a good story.
And he tells a great one.
You
This
got
is
it.
what we'll be talking about tonight. It is not yet out to the public, so I just printed a picture of it, and it is Jim Beckworth, Mountain
Man and Trailblazer.
Happy to have you with us tonight, Charles. Now,
Good to be here.
Robert Vardaman, Bob, Jackson Lowry has just joined us again. Do you have sound now, Bob?
I hope so. Do I?
Yes.
All right. Good.
You know, technology. What can you
Technology. Yep.
Yeah. Let's read his bio.
Yeah, let's read his bio.
Robert Valderman. Jackson Lowry is one of his many pen names used by Robert Vardaman, Bob to his friends. You know, you have more aliases than Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yes.
He began using Jackson Lowry in 2011 with the publication of the Sonora Noose. More than 15 additional titles followed. Nominated for many awards, he was honored to receive the Peacemaker Lifetime Achievement Award from the Western Fictioneers. Recently, he won the 2025 Will Rogers Medallion Award for Best Short Story.
Mhm.
He is a member of Western Writers of America and currently serves as president of Western Fictioneers.
And what are we talking about tonight?
We're talking about the Pathfinder. John Charles Fremont.
John Charles
John
Fremont,
Charles.
absolutely, another great book. Well, we'll take a moment to gush, gentlemen, and then we'll get to chatting. So, these two books to our listeners and our those of you watching are absolutely delightful, terrific reads, educational, entertaining, and you will learn things if you thought you knew about these two gentlemen. Let me tell you, Fremont and Beckworth, you don't know anything until you get into these stories. They both really illuminate these major characters in America, Western history. And it's delightful that the America 250 series, if Nick is able to join us, we'll have him talk a little bit about the series. Delightful that these two books are part of that series, because I think it's bringing little known people who were known in their time period, but little known people. They're kind of in the footnotes. I think one of you wrote that about your main character, a little bit in the footnotes. They're finally getting some spotlight. And congratulations. Charles, your book isn't out yet, I don't think. Coming up this week, yes?
Comes out on Sunday.
Sunday.
go.
Yes. How exciting. So this has to be an exciting time for you. Do you have like butterflies and things going on as you think about it?
Well, I'm with this is, I think, number 440 something. The butterflies are all molted by now. I'm excited about the series because of just what it represents. But personally, it's not anything. At my age, you don't get too excited anymore.
Bob, what about you when you launch a book? How do you do a countdown? What do you do?
I'm pretty much the same way. I've got over 200 Westerns out. So another one is a milestone only in, oh boy, I had so much fun writing that book. And I keep hoping that there will be people out there that share that excitement.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I can't conceive of writing that many books. It's a tough time for me to write a Christmas card. You folks write with two hands? I mean, how do you do it?
Well, you just put finger on keyboard and keep typing until you're too tired.
This is the way I type, and somebody told me I could double my speed if I would use Alt 10.
I tried that. The problem is it doubles the mistakes too.
Yeah, it doubles the mistakes too. Okay, well, here's a question for each of you. I'm going to give you the question, and then maybe Charles, you go first, and then Bob, if you'll follow up. Why is the Western relevant today? Charles, what do you think?
Well, I think because the Western genre, first of all, it is the only really truly American literary genre. The Western is uniquely American, but also because it has everything in it, I think, that people aspire to: individual courage and fortitude. It's the human against nature. This sort of the ability to just get things done that I think characterizes Americans, and the fact that they're popular all over the world. I mean, I have readers in Japan, in the Philippines, in Australia. There's just something about the Western that resonates with people.
Yeah.
And we need that nowadays. I think now more than ever, we need things that make people feel good about themselves, that make them aspire to be something greater than they are.
And Bob, what do you think?
I think America needs heroes.
Yeah.
And the West gave us a whole bunch of them. Rugged individualism, the idea that the frontier is there to be explored, the freedom of being able to just keep riding to the horizon. This is the important thing, I think, with Westerns today. It gives us something that you can't get in New York City with its skyscrapers. It's the vast limitless horizons and the promise that those horizons offer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the promise, the wanderlust.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, and I see that we have been joined. Welcome to Nick Wales, CEO of Dusty Saddle Publishing. So, Nick, we're so happy that you're with us. Can you hear us and speak so
I
we know?
can.
Oh,
I can.
yay.
I can. I'm sorry I was late. My last call overran and I lost track of time. And it's a it's a funny
It's okay.
business. You look at the clock and it's 12 and all of a sudden it's 1:11. Sorry about that, everybody.
It's fine. We're delighted that you're with us. Do you want to say a little something about Nick?
It must be in the middle of the night, though, right?
It's early morning. Well, it's
Ooh.
dawn. It's no. Yeah, what time is it where you are?
11 minutes past 1 in the morning.
In the morning.
Okay.
Yeah. But you work all night. We were saying that you have a clone that sleeps for you or something because,
Oh yeah. He's sleeping at the moment. He's up there sleeping. Yeah, I mean he's always there. I mean, it's a very handy thing.
Well, tell us a little bit about Nick Whale.
Nick Whale. With Dusty Saddle Publishing, Nick Whale was invited to build the company from scratch. Through his network, he picked a formidable team of authors, building DSP into the largest independent Western publishing company in America. And you're in England.
I know, it's a funny thing, isn't it, Jim? But Charlie over there was one of the first authors I ever worked with, weren't you, Charlie?
Yeah, pretty much.
He was saying that, you know?
Yeah. And we all know this, but why don't you share that too
The
for
rest
our
of it?
listeners that don't know yet?
Known as a silent advocate for hard work, achievement, and opportunity, under Nick's guidance, Dusty Saddle Publishing has expanded into other genres, has a fast-growing audiobook wing, and has several movie projects in the works.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, and he doesn't sleep. We know that.
I don't like to sleep. No,
We
but
know
there's so much fun to have. Why sleep too much? You've got to have fun with yourself.
So, Nick, before we take our first short break, why don't you just set up sort of what is the America 250 series now that it's out and it's rolling forward? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as we all know, America is one of the greatest countries in the world, and America 250 is a celebration of the 250th birthday of America from the Western business. And we knew that a lot of publishers weren't going to celebrate America. It seems to be popular to kick America at the moment in the world, and we wanted to go the other direction and show patriotism. I think that the world wouldn't be the same place without American culture. So it's very much a love letter to America, written by some of the greatest authors in our genre.
And are there 12, one for every month, or how is it kind of going to roll out?
Oh, it's one book every month. We're putting out one book that centers on a historical figure every month.
Yeah. And so tonight, again, we have the very first book, Pathfinder, John Fremont with us, Jackson Lowry, we call him Bob. And then we have a book coming out this Sunday. We have Charles Ray with, well, I should have held them up. We had Pathfinder right here. And then Jim Beckworth, Mountain Man Trailblazer. I just had to do a little print here because we've learned it's going to come out Sunday, right, Nick?
That's right. It is. And it's going to be a big hit, I think.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very big success. It's a great series. It really is. And I'm very proud that we've been able to present it.
Yeah. And we have Jeff Crawford with us with the series. He's going to be with, April 9th, Casey Nash is going to be with us.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you'll love
with
Casey.
another one of the series. And then we have, I don't have a picture of it yet, so I'm going to hold up the book that just came out from Jeff Crawford. But Jeff is with us with his American series book on May 14th. And then Alfred Wallen, and I just put together a date for him. And of course, I'm just going to hold up a part of a very popular series that he has, the Kennedy series, but he'll be with us July 23rd. So our goal, as Nick knows, is to try to have each of the 12 authors with us this year.
Well, we're very fortunate to have such great partners. I mean, I can't thank you enough, Bobbi and Jim, because we're very, to have true patriots working with us is a great thing.
Well, it's very, very fun. So we're going to take a very quick break because we have so much to talk about. So this is A word from one of our sponsors, Blue Cottage Agency and Clicks by Madison. If you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Janelle Madison does all of our graphics. Blue Cottage Agency, Krista Sukup does a whole lot to market what we do. And they are standing by to assist you if you are a writer. And here's a special offer they created. When we come back, we'll hear a little music. And we'll be talking more with our guests from Dusty Saddle Publishing, Nick, Bob, and Charles. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Authors, welcome home. Every author needs a website, a home base for their brand. Professionally showcase your books and brand with a custom website landing page starting at $369. BlueBookshelf.com. It's a great feeling to be home. Contact the Blue Cottage team today to get started.
I've heard the thunder rolling out across the mountains high, where the wind is singing through the clouds, drifting through the sky. It's a song of the trail. It's a song of the trail. And I have seen those Leonin canyons, and I've climbed the highest peak, and I've felt the sun, wind, and rain upon a carefree cheek. It's the song of the trail. It's a song of the trail. And I've seen the works of glory, and I felt the mighty hand of the one who made all this out here and made me what I am. And I have heard the redwoods singing and the mighty rivers roar, and the sign on the mountain, and I'll hear it evermore. It's a song of the trail. It's a song of the trail.
Welcome back,
back.
To Rendezvous with a Writer. Just been listening to Song of the Trail by Keeter, right? Keeter Stewart.
And the Trio Bravo Band. And gentlemen, to both of you, as I was reading the books, both books, music just kept going through my head. Oh, that song would be so great in this chapter. Oh, if they were doing a movie, this song would be so great. And this song, I have it by about 5 different artists. And Jim and I were listening last night trying to find the best version for Robert Vardaman's fabulous book, The Pathfinder, John Fremont. And that's what we're going to shift and talk about now. So I hope you enjoyed that. So, Jim, do you want to get us started?
Okay, where are we?
We're talking right here.
Right, we
Yeah,
are.
there we go.
I'm sort of kidding, Bobby.
We're not scripted, but we are prepared.
Well, let's first ask that in the standard question. What was the inspiration here, Bob, for deciding to write a little story about Fremont?
I've been writing Westerns since 1984, but always in the Western period up to the closing of the frontier. I had always read about Fremont and the Manifest Destiny era, the expansion, all of the Oregon Trail stories, but I'd never had a chance to actually do a novel that was set then. And of the Mountain Men, there's a lot of good choices there, but Fremont, I think, was the one that stood out to me, that was the brave man who risked an awful lot to map the U.S. and to open the Oregon Trail to the settlers that were going up into the Northwest.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you write him so beautifully. I felt the whole time that I was reading that I was right there with John Charles, that I was seeing the same vision he was seeing, because he was doing more than maybe all mappers are the same way that way. They're imagining what will follow. I never thought about it. But you illustrate it so perfectly that as he's working, he's
Oh, thank you.
imagining, yeah, what comes next? Who will take advantage of this? Oh, and the wagons will come, and then businesses will crop up to help people get over a ferry business will start, or a business will start to help wagons get lifted and lowered over mountains. And he could just see, couldn't he?
It was an amazing vision that man had, and he was first and foremost a surveyor. That was why he made the trips.
Yeah.
He wanted to open the South Pass and get the Oregon Trail open for all of the settlers to follow. And the visionary that was required was amazing.
Yeah.
And that's another one of the things that fascinated me about him. He was really a driven man and accomplished so much.
Yeah, driven.
Yeah, he was driven. He was very, very, very concerned about being extremely accurate. Because he figured people were going to follow this map and they would go into disaster if he was off just a little bit. So.
Yeah, I have no idea how the surveyors worked. The altitudes were all done by barometers. And, the theodolite survey equipment, that's a mystery to me. So, in a way, I guess you could consider Fremont to be a magician as he sets this up and is actually laying out a route that no one had ever seen before. That, I think, is what gets me. This is pioneering at its best.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I was thinking, when we were talking earlier tonight, he would write things down. I guess the topography, the rivers, what he thought were boundaries.
Even little.
But he said, in addition, to correlate with his, what would you say, his surveying,
the surveying instrument readings.
But he only do so much in the field, and a lot of times it was raining and it was snowing, and his fingers were cold. He had to worry about his men because they were unhappy because they weren't getting any food to eat. And he lost a lot of his supplies in the river. So
yeah,
he gets back home, which is in Washington. I'm wondering, how does he actually put this all together?
Yeah, how does it move from what he does to where the masses could get access? Bob?
What happened was he married Thomas Hart Benton's daughter, Jessie. That was somewhat scandalous because she was only 16 when they married. And Benton didn't really like that too much. But on the other hand, he saw, I think, in Fremont, the man's drive. And it was Thomas Hart Benton that wanted the great expansion westward. He was one of the most powerful senators in the U.S. at the time. And Fremont just went right along with his plans to open up the trails.
Yeah.
And there were 3 expeditions. The thing that fascinates me the most is all 3 of these were done in about a 4-year period.
Right.
And amazing to be able to do this kind of work and put up with the hardships that they did and be able to survive.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of interesting. One of the several reasons why he was sent west, and he wanted to go west to do this map work and survey the country, is they were worried about England taking over the western part of the United States. And I figured at this point, the folks from across the sea weren't even there anymore.
Oh, Mexico too. Well, and then
this was one of the big concerns in Washington at the time. The Mexican War was brewing, and President Tyler at the time was more interested in the southern border than he was in the Oregon area.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were right. The threat of the British settling up there, actually the Russians were probably more of a threat for that than the English.
Yeah. Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, and I know that this, Jim, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned it yet, but Bob, when the book opens, we're in Washington, D.C., and it's muddy.
It's
Yes.
raining
Yeah.
and it's muddy, and the streets are almost impossible to get across.
Yeah. And yesterday we were chatting a couple nights ago, and Charles, you were talking too about Washington, D.C. having a reputation that was not the reputation. I don't know what the reputation is today in terms of beauty and architecture and being able to get around. But Charles, you mentioned that, of course, it was known as, it had a nickname that wasn't very popular.
Well, it had a lot of nicknames that weren't popular, but in those days, the streets were muddy and the mosquitoes were horrendous, and yellow fever and malaria were endemic. And in fact, the nickname I mentioned when we spoke before was that the area in Washington where the U.S. Department of State is located is called Foggy Bottom.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that it's called Foggy Bottom because in the 1800s, it was swampland.
Swamp. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was until around the Korean War, or after European diplomats hated being posted to Washington because it was one of the worst and most uncomfortable capitals for diplomats in the world.
Interesting.
I've got a quotation here from a traveler. This is a quote: "A city, magnificent distances and miserable roads."
And Bob, we can't leave this book without mentioning Kit Carson, because without Kit Carson, they were such a team. Kit with Fremont, weren't they?
Kit was one of the premier mountain men. He and Baron St. Vrain had a fort of a trading post, actually, and had also been instrumental in getting the Santa Fe Trail pioneered through Bent's Fort. At the time, I think Kit Carson was in Taos, and that was his locale, I guess. And going along with what we're saying about heroes and so forth, it really pains me that the city of Taos is in the process of eliminating Kit Carson as much as they possibly can, taking down plaques and any mention of him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
He was the way that you write him. We learned that, man of few words, but you listened, and Fremont did listen. And I think Fremont was a little envious that Carson could just smell the wind and know what was coming. And Fremont just learned to just pay attention, didn't he?
He was, Kit Carson was a man of the land. He managed to trade well with almost all of the Native American tribes, and was well known to them as essentially a straight shooter. So without him, I don't think that Fremont would have been successful on any of the expeditions.
Yeah. Nick, before we go to a short break, and when we come back, we'll be shifting to Charles, but is there anything that you would like to add about this book or working with Bob?
Working with Bob's a dream. Bob works with my sister in Jersey, and they have a great time. And the book is brilliant as well. The book is a brilliant book. And of course, we've got more books coming out by Bob as well. He's a dream to work with. I mean, it's a dream for DSP to work with you, Bob.
Well, thank you.
We're going to take another short break, and let me see what we're doing next. Jim, what are we doing? Oh, okay. We're taking a short break.
And we have a little music too, right?
Yes, it'll be followed by another piece of music. We're going to step away to tell you about one of the places you can order books of many of our author guests. Find their books on the Out West Shop affiliate page on bookshop.org. More with Nick and Bob and Charles when we come back, and a little music. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Story is everything. Find a great one on Out West Shop's bookshop. Go to outwestshop.com. Find books and CDs on the menu. Choose Shop Out West on bookshop.org. Browse through featured authors on Rendezvous with a Writer. Explore curated book lists and our featured picks. Add in note cards, calendars, and jigsaw puzzles. One-stop shopping for great gifts. Use the search box to find thousands more titles. Make the switch. Your purchase supports us as independent booksellers. That's our story.
Born in the middle
beneath the Rocky Mountain peaks, I study the ways of the mountain men. As a red-tailed hawk circled high upon the breeze, I listened to their voices on the wind. I came to Cache Valley where the Bear River runs. There I made my first rendezvous. Saw a red-tailed hawk circling beneath that western sun. I knew I'd found my home pure and true. So when it comes my time and the good Lord calls my name, I'll tell you right where I want to be. Lay me down in the meadow neath the shadow of the Rockies. Let that red-tailed hawk keep watch over me. Bridger, Smith, and Beckworth, Sublette, and the rest, I swore I'd follow them to hell and back. And through trial by fire I passed every test, endured blizzards and Indian attacks, trapped the beaver, faced starvation, heat and bitter cold. Through it all I knew that I'd been blessed, 'cause I'm a man of the mountains, my heaven's here on earth. I blazed the trails that opened up the west. So when it comes my time and the good Lord calls my name, I'll tell you right where I want to be. Lay me down in the meadow neath the shadow of the Rockies. Let that red-tailed hawk keep watch over me.
Welcome back, Rendezvous with the Writer. We just been listening to Man of the Mountain.
Yeah, it's by written with two good friends, Jim Jones and Bruce Huntington, and performed by Jim Jones from his album Favorites. And Charles, the whole time I was reading your book, I was like, I gotta go listen to that song by Jim Jones because I just know it needs to be on the show. So welcome back, everybody. We're just delighted to have you with us. We hope you're having a good time. Is everyone having just a checking in, having a good time?
Yep.
Great.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Great. So,
Charles, as you mentioned earlier, you've written a lot of books. Is this the first one that you've written about Beckworth?
Yeah, it is. In fact, I don't even think I have used him as a character in a book before.
Okay.
Oh, so did you have a lot of research that you had to do, and how'd you go about that?
Yeah, I did have to do quite a bit of research just to fill in the gap. I knew a bit about Beckworth, but as I did the research, I found out that I didn't know half of what I thought I knew. I was the idea came to me when we were discussing with Nick, late last year, of doing the series, and my thought was to do something that showed the diversity of the West, and I try to do that in a lot of my books, and Beckworth immediately came to mind. But as I was researching, I had never known before, for example, that his father was also his owner and who was Irish royalty, who was like a second son who came to the U.S. Because his older brother inherited all of the property and titles in Ireland. That was a bit amazing to me. And the other that I didn't know, which was funny, because when I was in the military, in one of my training assignments, I did a paper on the Seminole Wars, and I had never realized until I was doing this book that Jim Beckworth was also involved in that.
Yeah.
But it just basically was, he's just such a fascinating character, an individual who was bigger than life and who was actually quite famous at the time. As I mentioned in the book, he had a book written, well, his name was on it, but it was actually written by an Eastern writer who was one of the Penny Dreadful authors of the time. He's very well known, but over time really sort of faded from mention and was become sort of a footnote in history, and an interesting sidelight in a book about mountain men, or a book about in a movie about the West that I remember seeing probably in the early 70s or late 60s. There was a character in the movie named Jim Beckworth, but who was played by a white actor, which was really, when I actually read about Beckworth afterwards and found out, it was a bit shocking. So I thought, this book will hopefully correct that little.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's a fascinating character, isn't he?
Oh, I guess he did so many different things.
So many different things. And yeah, and then if you would, and a storyteller, he definitely had a reputation for a storyteller. I do wonder if lifestyle for mountain men, we know for cowboys, it was not unusual at night to sit around and share stories. Now, mountain men, cowboys are kind of together. They're together with their outfit, but the mountain men are kind of a little more individual or separate, aren't they, Charles? He worked with Jedediah Smith, and that was interesting how they met.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were loners in a way. Sometimes worked in teams, but in their periodic rendezvous, when the mountain men would get together to trade furs and to replenish supplies, they did what people in that kind of work do. They sit around and they drink and they play cards and they tell stories.
When we created the name Rendezvous with a Writer, we had that rendezvous exactly in mind, that people gathering to tell stories. So I'm glad you mentioned that was part of their part of what went on. I think the first one 1824 or so.
That was the first big one, but I think when you look at the history of it, that was the first large organized rendezvous. But I think there were a lot of smaller gatherings as these people moved about the mountains, and they would get together, swap supplies, swap stories, and just basically enjoy seeing other human company after months of not having anyone to talk to.
You wonder about that first rendezvous. You can't exactly just send an email invitation to everybody. So how does the word get out? Maybe you tell somebody, hey, 2 years from now we're going to have a get together in St. Louis or wherever it's going to be.
Well, I lived in Africa for a while, and there's a term that's used there, the bush telegraph, and the way that a lot of the rural areas in places like Africa and Asia, they get the word around, and I think that's the same thing in the mountains of the West. Word passes from person to person and from
person.
Settlement to settlement, and it eventually gets around. And these rendezvous weren't one day affairs. I mean, you're talking about a gathering that might last for a month. So
more than 50 minutes.
A running block party. People come and go.
Right. I wondered if you wouldn't mind telling us why he decided to slightly change his last name. How did that decision come about? What influenced him?
There was. It's been a while since I did the research, but when he was sent to St. Louis for schooling and an apprenticeship, and he was apprenticed as a blacksmith, which wasn't to his liking. But when he got hired by when he was hired by the steamship company as a roustabout or a cargo handler on a steamboat on the Mississippi, it was a conversation he had with a friend who decided, he would, not that he didn't like his father, but he sort of wanted to have his own identity. And this was a bit of a compromise, changing the spelling of his father's name was actually Beckwith. And just by changing that last part of it to Worth, he established his unique identity, but still had that contact with the family.
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting story. Do you have a?
He was in all sorts of things. I think it's kind of interesting how he got into with the Crow Nation, and actually became a chief.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would tell us how that started in his in his
Well,
career.
most of these mountain men had to interact with the local tribes where they were trapping, and a lot of times they didn't actually trap the furs themselves. They would go and they would get the furs that the Indians the Native Americans had gathered. And when he first encountered the Crow, actually, it wasn't a very pleasant meeting, and there was some doubt as to whether he would survive the encounter. But he was such an accomplished storyteller and such a showman that he impressed the group that met him. I don't want to say captured. They met him. You don't capture someone like Jim Beckworth. You might think you do, but but he so enthralled them with his storytelling that they adopted him into the tribe, into the village, and eventually he became a tribal war chief, one of several.
Yeah, fascinating.
We were also talking today about that, and I was thinking, well, then he decided he didn't want to be a chief anymore. So how does he tell hey guys, I'm leaving? And they say, well, no, you're not going to leave.
Well, and then he just left. And he went from the area up in the Rockies down to New Mexico. And that was the interesting thing about Beckworth, is that while a lot of the mountain men tended to focus on a specific area, he left St. Louis after working on the riverboat between St. Louis and New Orleans, went first to the area up what's I guess now northwestern Colorado in the Rockies, from there down into New Mexico, and then over into California. I mean, this guy
was all over.
Planted his boots in practically every region.
Yes,
and
you do call him a trailblazer, and it was very interesting, sort of near the latter part of the book when we learned that he was taking wagon trains across and into California.
Yeah, he actually developed a sort of southern spur of the Oregon Trail over less perilous terrain to take people into the Yosemite area in California. And in fact, that stretch of trail, Beckworth Trail, is now, I think, part of the National Park System. And at the terminus of that trail, he established a settlement, which is Beckworth, California, which named for him, that still exists.
Yeah,
not as much as probably smaller than it was then.
Do we have any sense whether or not Fremont and Beckworth ever crossed paths or had anything to do with each other? Either of you know?
I did not find anything that showed that they ever met.
Okay. It seems like Beckworth was meeting everybody everywhere.
The West is big, but the fur areas aren't that big, so it would be difficult having. You had hundreds of these men out there in those mountains trapping furs. At rendezvous or in town, in settlements, when they went in for buying supplies, they run into each other.
Yeah. And I should ask this of both of you. So I'll go back to Bob for this one. Bob, what do you hope a reader will come away with after having read Pathfinder, John Fremont?
I hope there's a sense of wonder involved. I hope there's a sense of adventure and realizing how really brave people could be and still do the job. And not only Fremont, of course, but Kit Carson also. But it's that looking at the vistas, seeing what's on the horizon and just beyond. I want them to be able to capture some sense of how exciting that could be.
Yeah, yes, and we do. And Charles, what about you? What would you like readers to come away with after reading this wonderful book?
Well, I was thinking about that after we spoke the other day, and I would say the way a lot of people are feeling now as they look and they see all the trouble in the world and feeling hopeless is think about what it must have been like for these people in those days who had far greater challenges than anything we face and a far fewer resources to deal with it. But they kept pushing ahead. And if we hadn't had people like them who ignored the odds and who pushed ahead anyway, we wouldn't have the country that we have today. And I would hope that someone reading that would recognize that it's within the power of anyone to do whatever they set their minds to do.
And Mr. Nick Whale, what would you like to say about this series and what you hope people will come away from with it?
Well, I hope that people come away with just an idea of how varied and versatile the American West was. It's not like it was shown in movies. And I hope that for people outside of America, they get a really good view of American history as perhaps they don't know it. Remember, there are readers around the world, especially in Europe and in Asia. And I think people get a window into the American experience through these books. And I think that's always been the way. And I think that it's incredibly important to realize just how many people played a part in that country. You know, it's a pretty amazing thing. But of course, you know, it's a worldwide phenomenon, the Western. And I think America is is considered fascinating around the world. So I hope the readers everywhere enjoyed the series. You know, it's a brilliant one.
And here we are. I can't believe the clock on the wall. Oh my goodness. We are almost out of time, everybody. This has been so much fun. And you gave us a lot of time. You did the pre-interview with us and you answered questions and emails. And we just thank you so much for doing that for us. So let's find out, Nick, where can people find you, follow you, find out what's coming up next with Dusty Saddle?
They can find us on Facebook, on our social media, and our website, DS Publisher Network. And also, I need to thank Scott McRae for helping putting this project together, because it's a lot of his brainchild work as well.
Yes, and I think he may be on with us with Casey Nash. I think we're waiting to get that firm.
I hope he's a better timekeeper than me.
Charles, where can people find you, follow you, and what's next?
Well, I am on Facebook, Substack, LinkedIn, Blue Sky. I mean, if it's social media, I'm there. The name you see on the screen, you can find it. I also have a website, charlesray-author.com. And what's next is what's always next. When I finish one book, I start right on another, and I'm in the process of finishing up. I do, we don't normally say this in Nick's presence, but he's such a taskmaster. I do 6 series for DSP, and I'm working on one now. I do a bounty hunter, renegade, vigilante type.
I don't think we have any of those, Nick. Are those coming our way?
I will. I'll be sending you the new, also the new James Reason will be coming your way, and the new Johnny Gunn book will be coming your way. I'll send you all the books we get. Don't worry.
Keep them coming. And Bob, what are you working on next, and where can we find you?
I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. Website is cenotaphroad.com. That's a science fiction website, but the Jackson Lowry website is linkable on the left margin there. Coming up, I think it's going to be an April release. I'm not sure. One that I have under a different pen name with Dusty Saddle, and that will be Vengeance Trail. Ooh. And that's under the Wade Kennick pen name. Oh. That's the third one in Outlaw Marshall series.
Ooh, Outlaw Marshall series.
Yeah.
Woo.
It's set at Fort Griffith, Texas, just down the road from where I was born, though this is 1874. Needless to say, that's a little before I was born. Not much, but a little.
Well, gentlemen, we really want to thank you for being with us tonight. Jim, do you have a quote? I'm looking at time. Well, yeah.
Let's go for it.
Let's go for it.
You know, this is Fremont and Carson, and they're kind of talking, and Fremont says we need to ford the river again, and he lowered his field glasses and rubbed his eyes. A suppressed yawn hinted at the sleepless nights he spent recently worrying about his failure to find the best route. The wind off the water felt colder than it should be for the season. It carried the grit of ground stone and the green smell of a willow. A river's way of telling a man to be cautious.
Great writing, great writing, great writing. Next week, we will have James Wade with us for talk about his book Narrow the Road. We want to thank all of our sponsors, and we want to thank owner of LA Talk Radio, who also played DJ tonight, Sam Hassan. And we thank all of you for being with us. And do you have a final comment?
As we always say, it's always a great day out west.
Keep writing.
And we'll keep reading.
We'll see you down the trail. Good night, everyone.
See ya.
Good night.